This is Alec Corley, owner of South Hall CrossFit in Beaver, Georgia. My name is Jason Fernandez, aka Fern. I've owned my affiliate for 16 years. We help affiliate owners build better boxes inside of Best Hour in Affiliate University. And I'm going to help Alec solve one of the biggest problems that many affiliate owners have, which is how do I get myself off of the floor so that I can focus on the main thing? Every affiliate owner is going to have to solve this problem. We're going to walk through that with Alec because freeing up that time is going to allow him to focus on the things that are going to allow him to grow the business and create opportunities for himself and his staff. So if you're going through that, stick around. There's a ton of value in this video. All right, guys, we are back. We're going to solve some gym owner problems. Alec is here. Alec, before we get going, give everybody a quick intro of yourself, who you are, name of your affiliate, how long you've been open.
Yeah, my name is Alec Corley. I am owner-operator of South Hall CrossFit in North Georgia, Beaver, Georgia. 10-year affiliate owner.
First, congrats on 10 years.
Yeah.
Most business owners never make it 10 years, so I think that's a huge accomplishment. So kudos to you. So that being said, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? If you could solve that problem and have the biggest impact on your business?
Yeah, right now our biggest, I don't want to say issue, but challenge is creating a vision of a career path for coaches,
Okay.
but also creating more of a feedback culture from staff.
Okay. So that's kind of like the 30,000 foot level, but is there a specific pain point? Like, to dig a little bit deeper, what is the thing that you're trying to solve for you or the business? Like, what's the problem, right? So what you're outlining is the goal. What's the problem that you have? Is it time? Is it you need to get off the floor? Like, is there something more specific at the core of that?
Replacing myself as a coach.
Okay, great question. So first question is, how many hours are you on the floor let's give per week?
Honestly, that is kind of up to me. It's not necessarily the issue of replacing myself,
Okay.
but it's a replacing myself in a long term without having to recycle whether it's a few months or a few years.
Okay. So how many coaches do you have on staff right now?
5.
Okay. And then are any of those full time?
2 potentially. 1 is definitely full time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that a GM role or they're just a head coach?
Just coaches.
Okay.
Coaches
So-
who take on extra roles. Mainly other personal training or prep sessions, stuff like that.
Got it. So if you brought in another teammate, what would be the role that you would have them fill?
Ultimately growing into a head coach or a GM.
Okay. What would the GM do in your mind? Because I think that has a whole slew of looks and variations that you could have at a GM and what they do. But we could somewhat put it in a box. But what would that look like for you, and what would it do for you?
Somewhat helping run or lead staff meetings, coaches development, helping organize and follow through with coaches development.
And running staff meetings now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we run them once a month.
Okay.
With the entire staff. I meet with them individually. I would say at least once a week. We have smaller conversations. Sometimes it's not as organized.
Okay.
But I try to connect with each of the coaches at least once a week.
Got it.
Yep.
I'm gonna ask a different question. What's wrong?
What is wrong?
Yeah.
The cycle of
question a bunch of different ways to get to the actual, like, what's the problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah. Cycle, kind of 2 parts.
Okay.
One is creating more of a vision that a coach has potential to make a career out of being a coach.
Got it. Okay.
2 is being able to create the cohesiveness for a team versus just an individual.
Got it.
Coaching on the floor. I mean, we've got a relatively small facility. We've got 2,700 square feet.
Right.
We've got just shy of 180 members. But basically, we only have a need to have one coach or one staff member there at a time.
At any given time.
Yes.
Well, at least currently, and that depends on how you run stuff and what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, what's top line revenue?
Top line, per month.
Gross. Yeah.
Top line, about 45.
That's great. What kind of margin are you running in there? Like a good margin, I would imagine, in 2,700 square feet.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So first question always. So the career path thing is not necessarily like creating the vision. That's more of a math problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if we cracked open the budget, do you run a budget by chance?
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing is crack open the budget and, like, what do we have available? Right. So a lot of people are trying to create this role, this position, without just doing the math problem first. Right. So if you want to hire a full-time coach, fastest way to do that is say, I've got this much money, who wants the job?
Right.
Right. We all know that that's not why people get into coaching, but understand, like, if you want a line out the door, the first thing you have to offer is an opportunity that's worth pursuing. Right. So I don't know what that looks like in your area, but let's make it up. Let's call it 50 to 60 grand a year. Right. Could you pay somebody 50 to 60 grand a year to come in and be the GM?
Yeah.
Okay. So that I would start there and just tell everybody that, right? One of the mistakes people make is they're like, well, I pay them 25 bucks an hour. Forget all that nonsense. Tell them the gross number. You're going to make this much. Because when a coach comes in or somebody wants a career, they want to know, can I live off of that? So figure out what the gross number is, and then that's where you start. Then once I have that, then I'm going to outline the role inside of that. So that's actually the easy part, right? The second part is a little bit more complex, right? So we've done the math problem, like it's in the budget, we could do it. I can make an outline for a GM or a head coach or whatever that's going to be, draft it. We could scrub it a couple different times and it would be pretty close, right? They're going to drive sales. They're going to make sure the scheduling is done. They're going to manage coach development. They'll outline, member retention, all that kind of stuff. Good. And then you can oversee that. We'll come up with whatever the parameters are for like what you want to put in there for accountability. That's actually the easy part. The hard part is creating that culture inside the team, right? So when you talking about what does that mean for you, right? Like in a perfect world, your team would look and act like what? Like try to describe it to me.
What would it look and act like? I mean, it's kind of hard to envision that with just right now, maybe one coach and myself up there at a time.
Yeah, but imagine one time you get to do literally whatever you want. Money's not an issue. You have a team of whatever it is. What do the interactions look like, right? Because you had mentioned feedback before, right? So in a perfect world, if you're watching that feedback happen, describe it to me.
Yeah, just like interactions between a coach and a member that comes in. I mean, smiles, high fives, saying names, talking about your day, just normal personality type of, or personable stuff. But then transfer that into also workload as well. Talking about coaching, following up with athletes, talking about leads, basically the journey of an athlete, but also the journey of the workplace. Their coaching days, weeks, months.
So there's two things in there. One is just creating whatever that rhythm or routine you have as a staff, right? So your weekly. So there's essentially like three different kinds of. I can do daily, I can do weekly, I can do monthly touch points. And then if you go outside of a month, you just repeat that process, right? The daily, weekly, monthly, largely depends on who I'm talking about, meaning if part-time versus full-time, right? And what role they fill inside of there. And then there's official and then there's unofficial. So I've got daily, weekly, monthly, and then I've got unofficial conversations and official conversation. Official conversation is like, we have a meeting at 12:15 on Monday, and this is the agenda for what we cover in those meetings, done. Unofficial is like, hey, I saw the email that went out yesterday. I got some feedback on how I want to adjust the copy in there, and I want to move that button from the bottom to the top. Right, that's unofficial, just like what we call drive-by feedback. Okay, and you just put that rhythm into what you do. So, for instance, I'll give you an example of what we do at CrossFit Rife. So I have a weekly rundown that goes out. That's a digital format, goes out in the Slack channel. That's all the things that are pertinent to people that week. That's it. It goes out. Read it. Be aware of it. No action needed other than acknowledging that you saw it. Okay. I have a Monday meeting with my 3 full-timers. We go over lead flow, we go over programming, we go over problems in the gym. We call them broken windows, meaning like anything that's not working the way that it should, and how are we going to address it that week. Okay. And then I ask everybody for what they need. Anybody blocked on anything? Does anybody need anything from me? Are you waiting on me to do something? If the answer is yes, tell me what it is. I'll get it done, and then they get to move on. If not, cool, go ahead and do your thing. And then we have what we call is like show your work. Right. So, for instance, if we're talking about lead flow, if I ask you, I'm like, hey, Alec, talk to me about lead flow, and you're like, you can't be like, we're good. Right. That's not going to fly in the meeting. I want to be like, pull up the spreadsheet, pull up whatever your CRM is. I want to walk through by name everybody in the pipeline. I want you to tell me what's going on with there. So if you want to drive that culture, there has to be some accountability built into that, and it doesn't have to be like, like browbeating people, but like show your work. Right. So it's like in the military, we call it trust but verify. I trust you, but I still need you to show it to me.
Yeah.
Right. And then you just build that into how you do things. And then we have a monthly meeting where we have the whole staff shows up to that. And then we do, basically like anything that we need to recap from last month. And then what we call all things that fall in the 30, 60, 90 bucket. what's coming up in the next 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days that they need to be aware of, or the things that are in motion, right? So like projects that we're working on, events, programming, marketing. We'll outline all of those things. But those meetings are largely forward facing, right? So we're gonna be like, hey, here's a recap of last month. This is why these numbers look like this. Great. Any questions? No. Cool. Move on. Now let's talk about moving forward. The process for you is gonna look like, one, do the math. Figure out what it is that you want to offer. Create the role underneath that. Two, go out and find that person. It may be somebody you already have. It may not be somebody you have yet. Okay. But start with the role first. Where people do this backwards is like, I like Alec, I'm going to make a role and I'm going to try to jam Alec into the role where he might not be a good fit. Make the role first and then find somebody who fits the role. Okay. That's what makes it sustainable long term. The second thing is go and look at that monthly routine for communications, right? Like, what does that look like daily, weekly, monthly? And again, design it absent of people. Like, you're like, it's me and another coach. Forget how many people there are. Imagine there was 10 of you. What would I do for all 10 of us on that rhythm? Okay. And then build it out, just a skeleton version of it. And then you start executing it with the people that you have. So with the feedback, how often are you guys doing things like coach evals?
Coach and development?
Yeah, coach development, coach evals, like whatever you want to call it. Okay. It's the same bucket.
Yeah. Well, development specific to us, like going through coaching practices and stuff.
Put it all in one bucket, whether it's sales or coaching or
once a week or bi-weekly.
Okay.
And that's more coaching skills.
Okay.
Coaches evals and stuff once every 3 months. So unless there's something else that needs to be addressed or talked about more frequently.
Got it. Do you have like a specific sheet that you work off of, or like could you show it to me, like, hey, this is what we evaluate people off of?
Yes.
Okay. How did you come up with this sheet?
I mean, just development really over time. Partial through like the CrossFit handbooks, or Two Brain, or listening to y'all's podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
Just trying to create it's a compilation of different things.
Cool. I would increase that frequency.
Okay.
So once every 3 months is not enough time to cycle through quickly. Meaning, like, I'm going to give you feedback and then I want you to implement feedback so that I can see if you actually did something with it. So I would up that volume for a couple of months, call it 3, and try to do 3 per month. Because the important thing about feedback is, one, that it's accurate and it's received, but then 2 is like, what's the frequency of the feedback? Because if I'm giving feedback, it's because I want some change. So if I want change, then I have to speed up the frequency that I'm giving the feedback. So think about this in the context of you coaching a class with athletes, right? If we coach athletes the way we coach our coaches, this would look like you tell somebody to push their knees out at the beginning of class, and then you come back 3 months later and you're like, hey, remember that when I told you to push those knees out? And you're like, you still not doing it? They'd be like, that was 3 months ago, bro, right? So taking what we already know works in the class and then increasing the frequency with the coaches. And then you can back the frequency off, just like you can with experienced athletes. I don't have to tell them every single time where to put their hands on the bar anymore. We covered that already. Like, you've got the basics down, and then we'll start talking about soft skills with the coaches or stuff like that needs a little bit less kind of frequency in there, because it's not like tactical. Well, it is tactical. It's not technical. Like, they've got the technical skills in there. Okay. And then there's 2 pieces to that. One is you've got formal evaluations, which is like, hey, I filled out the sheet. This is what you get. And then there's what we call drive-by feedback. Those are way more important. Meaning, like, not everything has to be written down, right? If you see something in class that happened, grab them real quick, have a 90-second conversation about it, and move on with your day. Okay. And then if you want the culture, you have to create just a never-ending loop of feedback where people are just constantly talking to each other about what's going on all the time. It's coming to you, it's going to them, but they're coming to you and be like, hey, real quick, I've got something I need your input on, or hey, this is what happened yesterday, this is what I need to talk to you about. And then those conversations just happen all day long.
Yeah.
Just as you're working through. But start with that framework. Start with, what do you have available? What do you want it to be? I can pitch this now. That's an easy pitch, right? You put that on the internet, you'll have a line out the door of people that want that job. Okay. Then you start framing out, like, how do I want us to operate on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? And then you get into the like soft interactions, meaning like we just having conversations all the time. Okay. But it sounds like you've got a really good deal there. This is all about like getting in there and like you really starting to set the culture, the tone, the pacing, and how everything happens. And when you do that, everything will flip. We've done this with tons and tons of gyms, and it's you just starting to drive the agenda, the timeline, the pacing, the culture, and everything. And that just involves you interacting at a much higher frequency. Just increase the touch points on all the things that you want driven, and people will start to move in that pace. Because when you do that, they kind of force to. They have no option. Yeah. And you'll find out who wants to be on board and who doesn't real quick. At which point you can start mapping that out long term. Be like, okay, well, I'm going to have to replace Jenny because Jenny's probably not going to work out here. So I start looking for somebody else at that point, and I put them into this, basically this new developed culture where I get to mold that from day one. Okay. But you got the hard part. You've got the hard part down. So if you've got the money, that's easy. Then this is now a leadership and strategy issue. Most people have a money problem. They're like, I need a full-time coach. They don't have cash. They can't hire anybody. I'm like, first tell me what you're going to pay them. And they're like, $15 an hour. I'm like, for 20 classes? I'm like, nobody's taking that job.
Right.
And that's not a shot at them, but I'm like, if you want somebody to come in and be a full-time player, you got to pay them full-time money. And once you can do that, that's the hard part. Now you got to go do the leadership part, which is more long-term. So that's what I would do, is I would go in, I'd figure out what you want that to look like, create the role, create the dollar amount, and then ID the person, start putting that routine in place, and then you start doing your kind of like daily touch points with everybody. And 3 months from now, you'll be a significantly happier person.
Do you talk about, or do you have, or would you suggest having coach-to-coach feedback?
100%. Yeah, peer-to-peer feedback is super important. If you want that culture, they have to be able to give that to each other professionally.
Right.
Yeah. And that's all about how the feedback forms are designed.
How would you do that strategically?
You have to set the culture.
Gotcha.
And then what you have to do is, if they're giving feedback to each other, you have to watch them give feedback to each other, and you got to give feedback on who's giving feedback.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they don't know.
Right.
That's your job, right? If somebody's giving feedback and you're like, yo, that was a train wreck. Like, you can't talk to people like that. They're like, oh, I thought it was good. You're like, they didn't know. Right. So again, you have to go in and coach them on that. And then you'll see it and they're like, oh, that was great. That was a great feedback session. Like, it was objective. You led with the good things. Like, you gave solutions rather than IDing the problems. Like, these are all good variations of feedback. So you'll have to set that tone. But once you teach them how to do it, they're good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they can give feedback, and nobody cares who's getting feedback, because the feedback is productive and constructive. Right. If it's just like, hey, your class was late, I'm like, cool, that's not helpful.
Right.
Yeah, I'm aware. Right. If I knew that, I wouldn't have run the class late. So
okay.
You're in a really good spot, dude. Make those couple, like, those are kind of what I would consider like soft changes, and you'll be significantly happier, but you'll also start to build that culture you want. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, thanks for coming on, bro.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it.
Thanks.
Cool. If this story is feeling eerily similar to what you're dealing with in the affiliate, and you feel like Alec here, meaning you're wearing all the hats, you cannot figure out how to make a good coach and get off the floor so that you can redirect your efforts inside of the affiliate, don't worry, we can help you with that. Click the link somewhere on this video and sign up for the free 14-day trial, so that we're going to create that roadmap for you so that you can figure out how to get off of the floor, how to drive the business forward, and go back to loving the affiliate that you started.
CrossFitters, I've purchased hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment in my life. I've been doing CrossFit since 2007. I've owned 4 affiliates. I currently own an affiliate in my basement. And let me tell you this, Rep Fitness is by far my favorite equipment. First of all, it's amazing quality. The price is right. And what I love is I talk to somebody that I know, that knows me, and that understands my needs. Now, cool thing is, as a family member of Best Hour, you can save big over at Rep Fitness. Go to repfitness.com/best hour and save on your next equipment purchase.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.